Ladies and gentlemen, prepare for a comedic collision of epic proportions. Today, we're diving headfirst into the world of mistaken identity with the 2004 classic White Chicks. Get ready for a wild ride filled with questionable fashion choices and hilarious disguises. Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Danielle, and we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies from the late 90s and early 2000s. This week, we are talking about the 2004 comedy White Chicks. But before we dive in, let's get into some housekeeping. If you love the podcast and you want to support us, here's a few ways that you can.
Did you know writing a review and or rating us helps us get more listeners? If you want to be featured and help us grow, head to Apple, Spotify, Podchasers, wherever you absorb our content, and leave us a review. And we've been getting some really, really kind reviews. It's really filling my bucket. So authentic, 5 stars. I'm so happy to have discovered the No More Late Fees podcast. Hosts Jackie and Danielle are so knowledgeable, personable, and hilariously funny as they discuss classic movies from our past. What I love the most is that while they do shower the films with the praise they deserve, they can also be brutally honest in their critiques of where a film or actor or actress stands in the history of pop culture and nostalgia. Kudos to them for not only doing their research, but for putting their heart and souls into this project. Do yourself a favor and give them a listen sometime. You won't regret it. And that's from MTV and Me via Apple Podcasts.
Thank you, MTV and Me. Can't get enough of our zany antics? Become a Patreon member, aka Bestie, and get to know our story. See our upcoming movie list, bonus entries to our contests and giveaways, and access to our Burnt Aught Spotify playlist, to say the least. We have so much that you can get from a membership. Enjoy membership starting at $3 a month for a ton of content. So head over to patreon.com/no-more-late-fees and become a bestie today.
And liking and subscribing our channels and our socials really, really helps us out. So it's something you can do for free, something that's simple and easy. It'll notify you when we have new podcast episodes drop, and it really helps us on the different channels to be promoted.
But this week we are not alone. We're excited to have returning guest Gio back to join us.
Woohoo.
What's up, guys?
Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
We're so excited for you to be here. Our Jeepers Creepers episode was so much fun. And so
yes, I'm glad it's less scary.
Yes. But in retrospect, after we broke it down, I'm like, this movie isn't
not
as scary as I thought.
No.
People just made very dumb choices.
Yeah. The scariest part was the nasty director.
Yes. Definitely.
Yes. And knowing that people knew that part of Florida and was like, oh, I know exactly where this is.
Exactly.
So if you want to get to know Gio a little better, come back later this week as we count down our favorite Wayans movies. And don't forget to go back to check out Gio during our Jeepers Creepers episode and bonus episode. And you can check out our show notes for all of the links. But let's get into White Chicks.
So you guys, do you know who loves White Chicks the most? White Chicks, according to Marlon Wayans. Best summarized as Some Like It Hot meets The Simple Life. Two FBI agent brothers, Marcus and Kevin Copeland, accidentally foil a drug bust. As punishment, they are forced to escort a pair of socialites to the Hamptons, where they're going to be used as bait for a kidnapper. But when the girls realize the FBI's plans, they refuse to go. Left without options, Marcus and Kevin decide to pose as the sisters, transforming themselves from African-American men into a pair of blonde white women. No problems there. The movie stars Shawn Wayans, Marlon Wayans, Jaime King, Frankie Faison, Lochlyn, Munro, and John Hurd. It was directed by Keenen Ivory Wayans, and the screenplay was by Keenen Ivory Wayans, Shawn Wayans, Marlon Wayans, and Andy McElfresh. You can currently watch it on Hulu, but before we start, let's get into our ratings rewind.
So you know the drill. Before we get into the movie, we'll reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves would give. Then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. So our scale consists of would buy it again,
The best would play on repeat,
5-day rental,
would watch again,
2-day rental,
okay, but nothing to write home about,
and same-day rental.
garbage, burn it up, trash. Gio, we'll start with you. What was your Y2K rating of White Chicks?
Oh, bought it and would buy it again. I'm pretty sure I saw this in the theaters multiple times.
I would buy it again. My dad got this on bootleg for me. I was very excited.
It was White Chicks was part of Blockbuster.
It sure was. Well, it was later because, like, by that time I was no longer doing Blockbuster, but my dad was still sending me bootlegs. So
That's hilarious.
Jackie?
I avoided this movie for 20 years.
Why?
I have never seen White Chicks.
Interesting. Okay.
I am very selective when it comes to my Wayans brothers. It's Damon or it's nothing. So
Oh, wow.
So why did you see Scary Movie?
I didn't. I don't even like parody movies, which.
Oh, that's right. We did do Scary Movie and we covered this.
Yeah.
Well,
Gosh.
buckle up. All right, let's get into the box office. So this movie had a budget of $37 million and it made $113.1 million worldwide.
My opinion is in the minority, apparently, when it comes to Wayans Brother films.
Yes.
Well, the critics, Jackie, they largely panned this movie when it was released. It was nominated for 5 Razzies. However, in the following years, it has come to be regarded as a cult classic. It was certified gold in Black households. I don't know, like when I'm reading these, when I was putting these together, I was just like kind of shocked that I'm like, this wasn't a hit everywhere. I'm surprised. I also saw Busy Phillips had an interview and she was talking about when the movie came out, how she was really excited, you know, because it's a Wayans Brothers production, and how like it was panned and almost everybody kind of ran away from being a part of it. And I was like, this must have been from the white side of things, because on the black side of things, this was not a miss. This was a hit.
I will say I was very worried, especially with 20 years distance and where we've come. I was very worried watching this movie. And like, I wouldn't say it's a good movie, but I was pleasantly surprised at like where the jokes went, and like nothing felt like super, super inappropriate or cringy, which
was surprising. Like it held up well considering.
Yeah,
What do you think, Gio?
exactly.
Same. I think they told the line just enough. Now there is an underrated version where you're like, okay, you know.
Yeah, I did it. I wanted to find the uncut version, unrated version. Yeah, but and they did so many jokes. Like the way that Marlon and Shawn talk about it is that when they write a script, they use it as a blueprint, and then each take they're trying to top what's in the script, what's on the paper. So I'm sure they have so many that like didn't quite make it.
Yeah. I think the thing that makes it okay, not okay, but like they play into themselves, but also you're parodying, you know, the typical white girl as the media portrayed them at that time.
Right.
It's surrounded by white women, and they're so oblivious to it that they don't even realize that they're 2 black men in whiteface. And so I think that's like the upper part of it. That's like it's so simple to play on these tropes, especially back then, because they're based off of Paris Hilton and like Nicole Richie, the heiresses, who Paris Hilton, shout out to her, because she made us think that she was the dumb blonde.
Yeah.
Of the
Right.
2000s. And that girl is a genius.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, so So in that way, the Wayans brothers really did have art imitating life.
Yes, they
Yes.
did. Well, Dave Kerr of New York Times stated that most movies require some suspension of disbelief, but White Chicks require something more radical than that. A full frontal lobotomy might be a good place to start. Damn, Dave. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 1.5 stars out of 4 and said, "Here's a film so dreary and conventional that it took an act of the will to keep me in the theater." He subsequently named the film the 7th worst film of 2004, while USA Today's Mike Clark rated it 3 out of 4 and said, as with every other genre, there's a right way and a wrong way to handle dude lawman comedy. Chicks does it right a lot of the time. So I do want to say that the people that gave it bad reviews were all white. I'm not saying there's a correlation. I'm just putting that out there for, everyone to know. And for context, as we get in, we're about to go into the movie, there are some people who like to say that White Chicks is reverse racism. And I want to read this statement. While blackface has minstrel roots, and if you don't know what minstrel shows are, definitely look that up. Whiteface arises from a different impulse. Often employed in comedies, the practice enables Black people to pass as white, putting them in proximity to the believed benefits and privileges the skin tone provides. In works like the Whoopi Goldberg corporate satire film The Associate, or the Eddie Murphy White Like Me sketch on Saturday Night Live, the practice not only gives the infiltrator a financial and social advantage, it allows the racial passer to upset the perceived stability of racial identity. This comes from Robert Daniels of the New York Times. And I think it kind of goes with that whole statement that, yes, Black people can be bigoted, but they can't be racist because the structure of racism is the beneficial currency of being white. And Black people, no matter what they do, until maybe things change, are never going to get that benefit in the reverse. So just want to give that PSA.
See, this is also educational.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Look
But
at
before we get into cast and crew, let's hear a message from our pod pals.
In a world of box office blockbusters and binge watching, a duo of friends have assembled together to watch everything ever created. They are the Screen Addicts, and they are here to deliver a podcast that is insightful, comical, and the greatest sound your ears will ever hear. Prepare to empty your watch list, as the Screen Addicts podcast is here to be your guide, now streaming on all available platforms or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Jackie, what's going on with cast and crew?
Well, Terry Crews, pictured behind me.
the tongue is insane.
I can't wait to get to this scene. He auditioned for My Wife and Kids earlier in the day before his White Chicks audition and bombed it. So this was the debut for Heather McDonald, Jennifer Lexuk, Kirby O'Neill, and Rochelle
Aytes or Aytes.
There we go. And interestingly enough, Greg Canham, who worked on Mrs. Doubtfire and The Mask, created the special makeup effects. And according to a TikTok user, it took 7 hours to apply the makeup, 14 hours to work after that, and then it took an hour to remove. So they had very long days in makeup.
Which is crazy because, like, Shawn refused to get rid of his goatee. So it ended, so he ended up having to do more makeup. He's like, he needed his goatee, so.
Did he?
At the time, that was his signature. And, you know.
That's what I was going to say. That was his signature thing, though. That was the thing.
And then the cast became like a clique. Marlon and Shawn had little time at all during the movie, but they found time every night or every weekend to hang out with the cast. That's nice to know that, like,
Yeah.
They all hung out and got along.
Yeah. I think Busy Phillips talked about that. Like they really became like a friend group, like in the movie, except Shawn and Marlon weren't white at outset. So yeah.
I wonder if they did the little like shopping after call for today.
That would be so much fun to go shopping with the Wayans.
I've partied with a couple Waynes, so I'm assuming that shopping would be just as thrilling. It wasn't Damon. I'm sorry.
That's
Damon
okay.
was not there, Jackie, but it was Marlon. Marlon was there. Damian Dante Wayans and Craig Wayans. It was Craig Wayans' birthday. And the story
That's
behind that, you guys got to pay for that.
join our Patreon. Yeah, let's get into the movie.
Yeah, let's do it. So we start out, the brothers are undercover at a convenience store. They're waiting for a drug drop off, the ice cream. And so this guy comes in and then they're
Oh, I would say this scene is like,
yeah.
so it's like what I love about the Wayans brothers is like they kind of picked up the baton from where Eddie Murphy kind of like was his stick, especially like all I thought about in this scene was like Coming to America in the barber shop.
Yes.
So they're playing Latin men and it's funny because some of the stereotypes about it, like if you've ever been to a bodega in New York, especially, you've seen some of this, but also it was like, y'all, this ain't right. This ain't right at all. At all. When he did that comb over for that little strip of hair that was there, I was like, oh my God. Hot mess. Unhinged. But it tells a story also that like one, they're totally fine with going undercover, deep undercover with like prosthetics, and two, they like to do things on their own. I've never seen two brothers in the FBI that are partnered together, but
Never.
sure. And they also don't ask for backup, and it seems like they're a bunch of troublemakers. So like this whole scene kind of sets that up, and they fuck up the whole thing. But what are the chances that two groups of Russian men with ice cream are going to show up at the same time?
I love what he's like, I got the vanilla, I got the chocolate, I got the Neapolitan.
Neapolitan, for example.
Hot mess. And then both of them have like the same trucks and they can't even keep up. So they mess up everything. The operation is like done. So hot mess.
Yeah, so they end up getting in trouble, threatened to get fired, and they are now tasked with, there's this like kidnapping scheme going on with the Wilson sisters, who are very much portrayed like the Paris and Nikki Hilton types. And so their job is just to literally take them to the Hamptons, set up surveillance, and catch these like kidnappers. So they're kind of pissy about the fact that they're doing this detail instead of going undercover like they enjoy doing. Along with this,
sorry, because they get stuck doing this because they got kicked off of this assignment, and the reason they end up getting it because nobody wants to do this detail and they kind of bust in. But also we have to establish that Marlon's character is married,
Marcus,
and his Marcus, right? Marcus, his wife is not playing. She's up his ass. Like the man, she knew where he was. Like, you have to give her props because this is before you could even track somebody. She said she looked up something on MapQuest, which was like a smack in the face of the time.
Right. and then calculates the time, and she's like, if it takes you 5 minutes to get from here to here, this stoplight, then you were sleeping with this girl for it's like, what?
It's like diabolical. Your husband is in the FBI. Trust, if he wants to cheat, you're not going to know about it. Like, you better just let that go.
Well, and then she's like, we got to talk. We got to communicate. And he's tired. He's falling asleep at the table. And he's like...
I thought it was funny, but also very annoyed that like the two Black women representations in this movie were like this extreme, nagging, annoying, ready to jump him wife. And then the other woman we meet later is like, like he assumes that she is money hungry.
Yeah.
And like wants to pretend to be rich to trick her,
Impress
which
her.
is like
Yeah.
a whole nother conversation. But I still think it was funny. It wasn't bad. Like I think the Wayans do a really good job when they portray Black women. It's not too, I haven't seen anything, and we haven't watched all the movies, rewatched it, so I might be wrong, but it's not too bad in comparison.
Yeah, because I
Gio.
mean, you only have three main Black women that are showcased in the movie, which is Shawn's love interest,
Right.
Marlon's wife,
Right.
and her
The
best
best
friend,
friends.
played by my homie Drew Sidora. Shout out to Drew.
Okay.
Yes.
Drew teaches us not to have a hating ass friend. If your friend really hates your husband, it's not gonna be good.
But there's a duality to it. Don't be a hater, but do be a ride or die friend.
Yes.
Right.
You know,
But she was a hater though. She was ride or die, but it was more because she really hated her husband.
yes.
Yeah,
I think she also hated her because of the things that her friend told her.
true.
So you shouldn't talk bad about your spouse to your friends. You can confide in them with the tough moments to get advice and
Right.
just be a sounding board. But you can't go bashing them because then they're like, "Oh, I love you so much that now I hate him
Right.
because he hurt you."
Facts. Facts. Relationship advice from Gio.
So
Oh.
now we are on Wilson's sister detail. And in my brain, because I am a Friends fan, as soon as I saw one of the sisters, I'm like, that's Precious. That's Mike Hannigan's girlfriend that Phoebe has to break up with. And that's all that stuck in my brain the whole time. You're Precious.
I don't remember that.
That's okay. And so they're very vapid, very surface, and they're very spoiled as well. So it's a ton of luggage in the Suburban. The dog has to sit in front because he needs to be buckled in. Marcus gets shoved in the back. Then the dog jumps out the window, but is still attached by the leash. So
I don't know
Well,
why he didn't pull
made
over
a-
and stop. Go
He
ahead.
made a swift turn and the dog went flying out the window. And that's the thing. Why didn't you stop? Why didn't you just stop the car?
yeah,
Why didn't you stop? Or also, like, everyone knows if you have a dog, you do not put the window all the way down. You
Yes.
have to, like, you can. And he was in like a little high chair, so he had enough room to like get some breeze. That was just dumb on all parts,
It's a
but
small
obviously,
dog.
right. Like he's gonna. Luckily, he was on the leash.
Right.
I have witnessed this in real life. Driving down the road, I've had to flag down an old lady in South Florida because her dog was hanging out the side of her car, just attached by the collar and the leash.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Yeah.
Now, see,
so it
I've seen a
does
dog
happen.
jump out of a car that was moving. It wasn't going super fast, but he jumped out. They were passing a dog park, and the dog,
This
And it
is
was
a
my
stop.
he was pretty big. I want to say he was a golden retriever. Yeah.
But
Oh.
he's like, I'm retrieving that fun. I'm out of here.
Right.
But like quickly, let's talk about the Hilton factor of these characters. So the idea for the movie came to Shawn after reading an article about Paris and Hilton and Nikki Hilton. They were on the cover of FHM and they were getting in fights and stuff and acting real rowdy and raunchy. And he just thought it would be really fun for him and Marlon to play these two white girls. And so he like called his brother up in the middle of the night because he said at that time he like wasn't sleeping a lot. And he said, I have an idea. We are going to play like these two white women. And his brother was like, are you high? Like, what are you talking about? But he eventually convinced Marlon. And so then they had to call their brother to try to like tell him about it. And he was like, are you high? So there was a lot of an uphill battle about trying to get this done. But clearly you could just look at the pictures of the characters and know that it's at least Paris Hilton coded.
Yeah.
And there's even a song. Remember, Paris Hilton had a song back then.
Listen, say you must be worth $1 million.
Right.
Yep.
So their
The stars
song.
are blind, or is it a different one?
Oh no,
Oh, this
it's
one I
a
just
different
heard.
one.
Okay.
There was a song about them
About them,
on
yeah.
Got it.
Hilton.
And
But
so
in this, the band re-recorded it, if I'm not mistaken, and changed it to Miss Wilson for the movie.
which, gotta love that.
I don't know how much that cost on the back end, but great, great tie in there.
No, it was really smart because like it's familiar
Yeah,
but different at the same time.
Yeah.
So they get in a car accident, obviously, because of the dog. And the girls literally have like a scratch. Like it's the slightest things that they have on their face, and they're like, we can't even go. We can't even go. We can't go to the Hamptons like this. We
Yeah.
look hideous.
So then call in the makeover team.
Which is wild. Like who goes from okay, we gotta calm them down to, you know what, we got this.
yeah.
They're like,
Well,
when
because they're
you
trying to save their jobs. They're like, we can't let the boss know that we got these girls in the accident, and then are trying to calm them down from going to tell someone. It's like they're going to see those hideous scars on your face. Just like,
I don't know how those girls ended up. Well, I guess they were so scared about the scars. And I looked at those actresses' faces in comparison to what they looked like when they were in makeup. Obviously, they don't look anything like them. But also, if you look to the side, you're like,
It was
Drive.
giving generic white girl.
it was
giving
giving
generic
something.
white girl. But also remember, the friends in the movie hadn't seen them in like
A year,
a year
yeah.
or so.
Yeah.
So and they're socialites. They're in LA, the Hamptons. They probably just like, oh, they got hella plastic surgery.
But to look so bad. And also, all right, fine. We could excuse the plastic surgery, but your body, how did you get 10 times taller and like they're lean, but not that they're
Yeah.
pretty muscular.
They got their knees done. Remember? What the lady call her in court? Bleach, blonde, bad built Barbie, butch built.
Yes.
That's them.
So,
100%.
so they get the team to make them over. They look now like very weird looking white women. They get to the hotel. They're trying to check in. Now they know that their FBI counterparts, their other people are there. And so they're just like fucking around with them because they don't have the IDs. So when they go to check in, the guy's like, do you have your IDs? Like, so they make a huge fit. What is the thing that she's like, oh my God, she's about to have a bitch fit.
A BF. What's a BF?
I don't know why that one always makes me laugh so hard.
Heather, I am a white woman.
And then they meet their girlfriends, walk up to them. So we've got
You can't forget
Karen.
the sergeant comes over too.
Oh yes.
That's a key line. What a wonderful chocolate man.
And he ate that shit up with a spoon.
He looked
100%.
just like Denzel Washington. No, he doesn't.
Not even close. So then we meet their friends. We've got Busy Phillips, who is playing Karen, Jennifer Carpenter, who plays Lisa, and then Jessica Cauffiel, who plays Tori.
Yeah.
Now, is Tori their publicist? Because that's what it feels like. Because it's not everything that they're doing, she's saying, "Oh, I've got you. You know, I'm trying to get you an interview. I'm trying to do all this stuff."
She seemed a little older than the rest of the group in my calculation, but I could have just made that up.
Yeah, but also sometimes there's just that one friend who's kind of like plugged in and knows things, and if you're the more relevant people, it's like, I can get you in here, but the only way I can get in is if I'm with you.
Gotcha.
Was she the Kim Kardashian?
Yes, at the time, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah.
Also, Jennifer Carpenter will never not be Deb Morgan to me, and so this was a really it was a mind fuck watching her be really, really girly after seeing her on Dexter for so long. He's like, oh, Deb.
Which one of them was in The Exorcism of Emily Rose?
That was her, Jennifer Carpenter.
Jennifer. Okay. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
So now, on top of the fact that they have to be these white women, they're like having to fool these other girls that they don't know anything about. Then there's like a party out on the deck or patio or whatever, and this is where they're introduced to their arch nemesis, Heather and Megan, played by Jamie King and Brittany Daniel. And they play their roles very well.
Yes.
Very well. Shout out to Brittany Daniel.
Yes. Is she still married to Keenen Ivory Wayans?
I don't know. And I always wondered why they just didn't cast her twin to do this, because I think that would have been fun. But
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I don't know why.
yeah, she has a twin. They were on the
Sweet Valley High, baby, and
Valley High,
R.I.P.
yes.
R.I.P. to the writer of Sweet Valley High. She actually died this week, I think. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It says she dated Keenen Ivory Wayans from 2007 to 2014, and then she married Adam Tooney in 2017.
Oh, so they didn't get married. Okay. Francine Pascal passed away, the writer of Sweet Valley High books.
Gotcha.
Childhood.
Francine.
So they meet their nemesis, and then they go on a insult your mama so, which should have been a hint to the other white girls, because I don't see white girls doing your mama jokes ever.
Nope.
Yeah, ever.
Ever.
It's really bad. But that there were so many keys, so many things, like even the voice changes, the only in America.
Yes.
So good. I love when he's like, hold my poodle.
Yes. Am I love, son? Like
The joke about the breast milk into powder came straight from a joke that Monique said on BET Snaps back in the 90s, which I had no idea. That's one of my favorite things. Like, first of all, where did you get the dust from?
that's what I was trying to figure out.
Where is that from?
You just have it on deck.
Your pocket? Is that makeup? Like, how are you? Who does that? Is it John Cena? Or is it The
Gold
Rock?
dust.
Who does the? No, that's LeBron. LeBron
That's
does
LeBron.
the powder. Yeah. I said a lot of names before I got to LeBron. Sports, everybody. Sports.
Yes. No, I'm assuming maybe they just had it in a makeup bag. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the actual powder from them having to make their hands white, and they were just like, it's already here.
Facts. Yeah. Yeah. They came
then-
ready.
They then, like, they're just mingling around like this cocktail hour, and Marcus is getting down on some quiche, not realizing that there's dairy in it. And so we get that classic late 90s, early aughts bathroom shitting scene.
Yeah.
Like-
And
The classic move, bitch.
okay, so there's so many sounds from this movie alone that are trending on TikTok. Like even right now, the steak dinner one where he goes and the little lady's gonna have a salad and she's like, perhaps not. I'm getting a steak. Then there's the move bitch one. There's the oh gosh,
The dance was trending.
where's Lochlyn? And the whistle, that
On the
one.
dance floor.
That was my favorite part of this whole movie, was just Latrell on ecstasy on the dance floor.
I highly suggest that if you guys have time one day to read the interview for the 20th anniversary Entertainment Weekly with Marlon, Shawn, and Terry Crews, because Terry Crews is absolutely unhinged in that interview, and because it's in like writing, you can't really see if he's joking, but he talks about how into the character that he got, that he part of him as an actor, part of him kind of fell in love with Marlon's
Marlon?
character, and it was like, is he joking? I don't know, but the whole interview is really fun, so definitely check it out.
That's the thing about Terry Crews. He might have been joking, but he might have been telling the truth.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey,
And also, there's truth in every joke.
yes. 100%. Yeah. So now they have to look for outfits for the party, for the party that night, which is like some auction. I got confused because I thought it was the white party, but it's a different party. So they go shopping, and this is when we get the infamous 1,000 Miles first scene with the girls all singing in the car. And I can attest, I have experienced this where there's a bunch of white girls in the car singing a song, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't know this song. And I know white songs. I don't know what this is.
Okay, so I work bar mitzvahs, and so for my first few parties, there were definitely some songs where I was like, and we're supposed to be like singing along and hyping up the crowd. And they're like, get them up. And I was like, I now know all the words to Sweet Caroline, but my first two parties, the lady next to me going, ba, ba, ba. And I'm like,
Yes. I think on this show, I don't know what episode we're talking about, I went into like a dissertation about Sweet Caroline and when did white people come together to learn this shit, because everyone knows when to sing the song and to add these bop bop bops that were not in the original song. So where they come from.
that
Jackie
is
then
so
explained
good,
it's
so good,
probably
so
a baseball game.
Yes,
Correct. Yeah.
they always play Sweet Caroline during the 7th inning stretch at the Red Sox games.
My white girl
Okay.
interpreter right here.
Look at me.
And I would say the equivalent to the scene is for me listening to a Taylor Swift song that maybe is not as popular and everyone knows the words. But I love that they also interviewed Vanessa Carlton in that interview that I was talking about, and she goes into like why she said yes to have her song in it. And Marlon and Shawn actually very much love the song, like not ironically, like they actually liked the song.
yeah.
I think they gave Terry Crews 2 different songs to learn, and that was the one they ended up going with. And he was like, oh, I already know this song, so I'm good.
I love that so much. And okay, I'm very late to the White Chicks game, but I did not realize, like, I knew 1,000 Miles was portrayed in this movie, but I had only seen the clip of the girls singing it. I didn't know the Terry Crews part was from this movie. I
Yeah.
thought it was from another movie or like a
Brooklyn
bit he did or something like that. But I was like, hey, this is that.
But
This
when
is
he
the
goes,
thing.
when he goes, like,
It's
Yes.
so good.
well,
Terry Crews is amazing in this movie.
he
Just
really
top to
is.
bottom.
He said that like he loved that they let him go for it, you know, like they pushed the boundaries, and so he did too. And because the energy he had when he went for the audition, because he bombed My Wife and Kids, he called it his Wayans Day because he literally went from one to the other. He was like, you know, I just didn't give a shit, so I just went ham, and they were like, perfect.
And that's how it has to be sometimes as an actor. Like, especially when you get to be in the room with the people, if you're not, sometimes when I'm just not confident on it, I'm like, I'm just, listen, what did Anita Baker say? Giving you the best
That's
that I
that I
got.
got.
And those are the ones where you end up like getting a call back or even booking it. And you're like, this is the one after all the work I put in last week on this 15 pager and I'm crying on cue. And this is the one? Okay, fine, sign the check.
So we get the mall scene when they're trying to dress them for this next event. And poor Marcus is like shoved into like this silver outfit. And she's like, suck it in, suck it in. I'm like, bitch, get him the right size.
But this is such a wonderful time capsule to almost
Yes.
what society is trying to shift us back into, which was extreme skinniness, and you don't have options for bigger sizes. You're going to somehow fit into this. And so there's a lot of conversations about losing weight and liposuction and, you know,
Oh my gosh.
even, you know,
The whole part with Jennifer Carpenter's character, and Jennifer Carpenter is so thin. And her character, like, saying that she's fat and like having like this whole like meltdown because of it.
Yeah.
And I wrote down body dysmorphia as Shawn's character was saying, I'm going to get you professional help. I'm like, yes, get this girl professional help.
But then he says, Dr. Phil and Oprah, those are not the people.
Nope.
Those
Mm-mm.
are not the people. But it does speak to that time. And like, even you and I, Jackie, like growing up at that time, and we look back at our pictures now, we're like, we were so skinny. And
Yeah.
they did not make us feel skinny at that time. And you
Mhm.
look at what ended up happening to like Lindsay Lohan and Nicole Richie, how they ended up going, even Hilary Duff at one stage, they were bones, literally
Yeah.
so unhealthy. Mary Kate and Ashley, because it was just so much pressure at that time.
I mean, even looking back on characters like Kim from Oisha, Honey, in Bring It On 3, they told her, like, they tried to make her the bigger girl. And she was like, no, I was fit. I was toned. I just had bigger boobs than the other girls. So
Right.
I'm curvy.
Right.
And it's her body type. And so she wasn't fat. She wasn't obese. But that's the unrealistic body standards that we set out back then. It was like, it's
Insane.
very unhealthy. But now the crazy part is everyone's trying to be thicker or getting the BBLs and stuff like that. And so it's like the things that we shamed, we're now trying to push people to, and people are doing all these crazy things to get these bodies that we used to shame people for. And I'm like, oh my God.
But now they're shifting back because now people, you know, a lot of the influencers, you see them, the Kardashians, they took their BBLs back. They're a lot of the plus size clothing places are limiting their sizes. Even plus size models are talking about that work has been slow for them.
Yeah.
A lot of different clothing companies that expanded their sizes are now they just disappeared from the site. So I see a lot of plus size girlies saying like, where are you guys going to get clothes now, because our options are like becoming smaller again, because we're seeing that trend go back the other way. And a lot of these things, if you really want to tie it back to the economy, they're linked to like where we are from an economy standpoint, which is very interesting if you like want to dive into that. But it's also like, this is our life. Like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
We're not going back. I refuse.
We are not.
I will not try to get into those low-rise pants again. I fucking won't.
No, we're shooting forward like the button off of his.
Exactly. Breaking that mirror.
So after this is the scene where a guy tries to steal the whose purse was
Marcus's
it?
purse, right?
Marcus's, was it?
Or was it Shawn?
It was Shawn's.
Shawn, yeah.
Kevin's.
It was Kevin's purse, and I would have been scared if Kevin was chasing me, because I thought he was going for a touchdown.
She's a writer, she's a track star.
Real.
And it's the look on his face when he's like coming up on him.
Oh my God. But okay, one thing to note is that they filmed most of this, like some exterior shots in the Hamptons, but mostly in Vancouver in the winter. So like when Shawn and Marlon talk about like the makeup process and then the clothes, and then they put the blue eye contacts on, which they said were really scratchy, felt like almost like soda bottle caps scratching their eyes, and it made them feel kind of claustrophobic and uncomfortable. And I was just thinking, as a woman, welcome to our world. Not obviously not the prosthetic parts, but like the clothing and just having to live your life in very uncomfortable clothes. But they were saying that it was cold as fuck. So if you look at the scene when they're in the convertible for that 1,000 miles part that we're joking about with Luttrell, you could see when he's talking, you see the like, what do you call that? Breath in the air. Yeah, because it's that cold. So when he's doing this scene, they actually had to put like foot sandals soles on the bottom of his feet. So because he's supposed to be running barefoot in this scene.
Yeah. Just insane. But I love the tackle, and then it's like, geez, lady, all that for a bag? Not just a bag. It's Prada. And it was more so that his ID and badge and everything was in the bag.
Oh, I got it incorrect. Not Vancouver, Chilliwack, British Columbia.
Mm,
Oh,
Still
okay.
Canada, but
Still can.
different. Yeah.
of
Still
course.
can. Still Canadian. You knew what it was on the boot.
Yeah.
So we get a bonding moment where all the girls come over for a sleepover. They cornrow Busy Phillips' hair.
And they're teaching her self-worth at the same time because
Yes.
she's in love with the guy who's paying her dirt.
No, because I always talk about this. We're going to talk about that. How did he get the hair done so fast? Because at one point, like you have two braids done, and then she gives this little monologue about being in love and how she wants to be treated, and then all of a sudden she's all done out of
I
nowhere.
was I was surprised because I don't know a lot of black men that could be doing cornrows.
That too.
I just don't like ever. That's a rarity. I'm not saying it's not impossible, but it almost gave like we're gonna give her cornrows in this scene and nobody's gonna question it
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Well, no, I know a couple of people like it just
It's
depends.
it
But
depends, yeah.
they, I will tell you that I watched a prison show, and all of the men in there learned how to do each other's hair. When I tell you the edges were laid in cell block D,
Love to see it.
but it's like these gangsters like, yeah, you can't be letting them punk you like that. You know, you got to, what in the world? Oh my
So
goodness.
after the sleepover, I
Don't they order a stripper and they think they're getting kidnapped too?
what yeah, like yeah. They it's not Kevin, it's Marcus who beats them down. And at this point, the FBI is like starting to get suspicious
Yeah.
of the girls because things aren't adding up. So
Yeah.
this is like almost like the last straw because when they're out of the room again, I think the next day they go to the beach, they start going into their room to try to figure out what the hell's going on.
Yes.
And
That's true.
when they go to the beach, those girls are messing with them again.
Yeah, with the
And
two
so
you guys.
yeah. But they got him good when he threw that football and knocked them the hell out. But how quickly does Kevin or Marcus change? Is it Marcus? I can't. I
Yeah.
Kevin.
It's
No,
Kevin.
Kevin
Kevin
changes.
changes really fast because, like, at one point he's at the beach, and then next thing you know, he's Kevin again, and now he's trying to hit on the anchor woman who
Denise.
is Denise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the same thing happens when they go to the club because it's like he drops off Denise and then quickly he's back into gear again. So
Yeah,
I was like, okay, I'm
unrealistic.
watching Kevin. Yeah.
Which also, it's like, because we didn't talk about the first time they met, which was at the party, and he's like, "Oh, you're pretty strong," and she was like,
Get rude.
"Speaking
They
this
just keep
woman."
hitting each other. I'm like,
Right.
stop hitting her.
I have a fun fact: the two little boys at the beach that he uses for the thing,
Yeah.
they have to do reshoots a year later, and if one, if not both of them, their voices changed, and you can hear it.
Oh.
Come back and ask, "Where's our money?" The voices are a little different. They dropped a little bit.
Oh no. I
Where's the
didn't notice
money?
that.
Yeah, go back and keep it. I saw that like a fun fact somewhere. It was like the 10 things you don't know about white chicks.
Also, I'm trying to think. I think we did miss. No, we didn't miss the auction, but this is also another clip. It was like when he calls her white chocolate in the sand, and you just see him in the speedo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
And
God.
this is when he convinces Marcus to go on a date with him that night.
Well, he wins her in the auction, so she has to
That's
go.
right.
He
So
has
she
to
has to
go
go.
on the date.
Yeah, they go to the auction after the beach day, I believe.
Yes, they go to the auction. They're at the like really shitty table in the corner because they pissed off the girls with their your mama jokes. And then they have the auction and they're both trying so hard for Luttrell not to win, but he does. And so he has to go on this date selfishly because Kevin wants to take his car, Luttrell's car, and break into his house to show off to the anchor woman.
Yeah.
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 Because he doesn't want her to know. It's very much Aladdin in a sense.
It is very much an Aladdin.
The prince, while also pretending to be a white woman, which is a whole. It's Aladdin with a layer to it.
This movie is just built on a house of lies.
It is. And Denise, like, there were so many red flags. One, he didn't know the key to open his door. Two, when
The
he turns
maid?
the maid is like, what the fuck? And he kicks her out. Three, he doesn't know he has a dog. He doesn't know where his kitchen is. There's a large ass picture of Luttrell in a like bearskin rug type of thing going on. So many red flags.
So many.
And then this is the scene where Luttrell and Tiffany, I don't know which girl is who, are Marcus and Luttrell are on a date. And he does the most to try to throw off Luttrell, but Luttrell don't give a shit. Luttrell only cares the fact that she's a white woman. That's it.
That's it.
A white woman with a black woman's ass.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is so pertinent.
As soon as Marcus put his feet on the table, I'm like, Danielle is like dry heaving right now.
I'm dying. I was.
Oh, do you hate feet?
I don't, it's not even that. It's just like, I don't like things in places they shouldn't be. Like a foot on a table. That's what we eat. That's disgusting.
Yeah. Like
Absolutely
I
not.
have to, like pets walk on like kitchen counters and stuff. Absolutely not.
That's why I'm sorry. It can't eat from everybody. I don't know what the fuck you're doing in your kitchen. Because I see you at work. And I don't like what I see at work. So I don't even know what you're doing at your house. No. Nope. Can't do it.
So Marcus orders the most, like, the smelliest meal he can think of. Like extra onions, extra garlic, all of this stuff.
The ribs.
Sauerkraut. And then at the end, he's like got his belly out. His like
with
little hairy belly.
With a patch of like a little circle of hair. Oh, he tries, and it doesn't bother Luttrell at all. And he's farting. And Luttrell's like, no problem. I'll fart too.
Right. He was like, damn, little lady, you sure can put away. Mouthful of food. Just, ugh.
When he opened his mouth, I was like, oh, God. So he calls Kevin to say, hey, I have done everything to like stall this dude. You got to come back with the car. And then they end up going to the club. This is the most unbelievable thing for me of the whole movie. And this is saying a lot. I have never seen white women coordinate and choreograph a dance and then execute it in a dance-off at the club. Never. Ever. Never in my life. And
now,
then
what I have seen is cheerleaders like battle at like a high school game.
Yes.
Like they just have a routine. But like an actual full-formed 5, 6, 7, 8 at the club, no.
What I love the most is that I could tell you almost like every move that Kevin and Marcus's crew do, like what they're named and where they came from. Like they do this dance from
the Rhythm Nation.
No, that's Janet Jackson. It's not If I Was Your Girl. That's where that one is from. Yeah. Because I remember practicing all year to get that one down. Okay. I don't know what the other girls were doing. They did do one move that was a Britney Spears move. I clocked it immediately.
This is from
Sometimes I Run.
No. It's
You're right. Yes.
No, because why was that playing on Disney Channel during our childhood?
I don't know.
Red Spaniards. That Genie in a Bottle. Why was that playing on Disney Channel? We'll do a whole deep dive on what should not have been on Disney Channel.
And also, I've never been to the club where Tricky gets played randomly. Like, it was so...
I feel like they requested it.
They
Like, that's the
must
only
have.
way that happened.
And
Right after Crazy in Love by
Yeah.
Beyonce, it's like,
yeah, Latrell tries to roofie
It wasn't
Kevin.
roofies, it was ecstasy.
Okay. He tries to drug him.
I only know because then he starts feeling himself and the
yeah.
dog.
Because if it was roofies, he would have
He
been
would have been
passed.
passed out.
Yeah.
Which they did talk about that, like how they went really far with things. And Terry Crews says that like that scene actually could have been worse, but they pulled it back. He's like, now it's like obviously a no-no. It was a no-no then.
Yeah.
You
It was
just
a no-no
happened
then,
to.
but I think it also gave some awareness because my
Yeah.
friend was like, well, how did she know? I was like, the drink is fizzing. She's like, and I'm like,
It's like
mind you, this movie
Alka-Seltzer
came
in
out
there.
what year?
2004.
Yeah.
2004. So I'm 14.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also looking like the drink doesn't look normal. Like, I don't know by alcohol standards, but I don't think it would be fizzing up. And she's like, oh, yeah. And I was like, you don't need to go to the party by yourself.
Jackie bought me this scrunchy turned drink cover that I have. I saw a guy, I don't know if it was a TV show or a TikTok, where he got really upset because a girl did that with her, like they were on a date, and he was like kind of threatening her to take it off. And I was like, you've got
Red
to
flag.
go. Yeah. So,
But the ecstasy turned into a rave party of one for Terry Crews, just out feeling himself.
where did he get the glow sticks? Where did he get the whistle? And also, we never talk about it again. But the next morning, Latrell wakes up with that other guy, the guy that gave him the drugs, in the bed together.
Yeah.
But I don't know why Latrell was upset, because he seems to like be, pansexual essentially. So what's the problem? He's white. That is all he cares about. He's white and blonde, so should have been not.
See, I never looked at it that way, but you know what?
I don't know why they were screaming. I mean, I know why the other guy might have been screaming, but like Latrell.
Well, if they had got to that point, he probably should have screamed the night before.
Right. Facts.
That's what I'm saying. I think they both just came to an awakening and they weren't ready for it.
Yeah. They were surprised. But can we talk about Agent Jake and Agent, what's the other one? Vincent. What was that like? Vincent was always asking like, who would you pick? And then never answer himself. And then we
always be like, wait, we gotta do this.
But then Agent Jake, when he found the underwear, he was sniffing it like, what?
No.
Why? But then they figured out that the girls were actually guys. So that's when they got caught.
When Marcus's wife shows up and they're like trying to hide all the shit, and he puts the boob in a clear glass vase on top of the fireplace. And like, this is cinematic gold right here.
Because like, how are you hiding it?
Yeah.
It's a nipple in a jar. What are you doing?
Well, this was the one trans joke, actually.
Oh, okay.
When they find out and I don't know if it was a joke as much so. I mean, he was telling the truth, but it played into it a little bit. She goes, no, it's not what you think. She's a man.
And then she's like, you're sick. Yeah,
You're
that
sick.
was, yeah, you're right.
So I wouldn't say that as much as a joke, but just like, I mean, I think that would be any woman's reaction, thinking the man is cheating, and then there's another layer to it, but at the same time, it's like.
But at the time, like, the education, I think the mass education of understanding, I think women do have transphobic thought processes as well.
Yeah.
That were ingrained in them. So I think we all as a group have done a lot of unlearning and understanding. Still have a long ways to go, but at that time, I kind of get it, but it's still not right.
No, for sure.
I do want to note that the girl who plays the real Brittany is the actress Maitland Ward, and she played Rachel on Boy Meets World. I did not realize until I
Wait,
just
what?
looked at. Yeah, Rachel from Boy Meets World. Remember when they went to college? The tall
Yes,
friend
but
with the red hair.
I've never realized that was her.
Yeah,
I recognized her name and I knew the name, but I couldn't place it.
it just clicked for me too, y'all. Surprise, bitches!
Maybe it's because she's blonde.
Yeah, because she looked familiar. I just couldn't put my finger on it. But yeah.
Yeah.
So after this, they get in trouble. They get caught by their boss and they're told that like the whole thing is off. They do learn that which guy was it? That Warren Vandergeld, or I think that's his name. That's something fishy going on with him because they were expecting it was somebody else that was infiltrating and trying to kidnap them, and they're realizing that it's actually probably him. And their chief does not care. So the mission is over. They kind of get in a tiff because rightfully so, Marcus calls out Kevin for kind of being selfish in the way that he approaches things, because now he's like, my wife is pissed at me and we just lost our job because they got fired. But they do decide to like continue on and do it on their own because they fucking always do things on their own without permission anyway. So what's the difference now?
So now it's like the finale of the weekend at the Hamptons, which is like this big fashion show. And so the brothers go dressed as the Wilson sisters.
Yeah, they go back as the Wilson sisters, but what they don't know is that the real Wilson sisters saw a picture of themselves on page 6, and they're like, there's clones, they're impersonating us.
We're clowns. It's so campy. It's
Yeah.
oh my God.
So Kevin and Marcus get into like hair and makeup and wardrobe, and they're strutting their shit. Like they are feeling themselves in that jellyfish couture.
The poses they make at the end of the like
When they're
the
like
wrap
squatting
cover.
down.
Yeah, it was
What?
hilarious.
With those.
But then the real Tiffany and Brittany are also in the show. And
Oh.
it's crazy to me that people are confused because they're like, weren't they just here? They don't look the same, even when they're confronted with them face to face. Come on,
You have to
everybody.
suspend the belief and believe.
It's just insane.
That's
So-
the best thing about this movie, is that you also have to use imagination.
Yeah. Like we're just all gonna pretend that they look exactly like these two tiny white women.
I am. Every time I watch it, you're not going to convince me otherwise.
So they're going, and it's funny because at some point they almost like they switch. So it's two of the same, I guess, supposedly. And everyone's like, what's going on? This is wild. And at the same time, their nemesis are up on the scaffolding trying to
Do a carry.
do a carry with some red paint, on top of the fact that they switched out one of their outfits to these swan outfits that Bjork wore at one of the MTV Music Awards, the swan situation. And they're like made fun of. So then they like that scene where they're knocking everyone off the stage like a bulldozer was crazy.
Yes.
Then their friends see that their nemesis are trying to get them, so they actually make the scaffolding fall. And the way that they fall is, I don't even know if physics would say that that makes sense. I'm no scientist, but the trajectory on that didn't make any sense. And then people think it's like art because then the red paint falls on them and they're like, this is magnificent.
It's like the one guy's like, oh my God. It's like, no, sir. Sabotage.
But then at the same time, like this is when their dad is exposed for not having any money, and like the Kevin and Marcus find out because Busy Phillips gets drunk and she's like puking in the bathroom, and she's like, yeah, their dad's been borrowing money from my dad. Like, no one knows. So that's exposed to the daughters, and they're like, what? We're broke? What are you saying?
I love how they're like, are we Martha Stewart broke or MC Hammer broke? Like, I understood that very much so.
If we showed that to a Gen Z person, they're gonna be like, "What?
What?
Who?
I didn't know Martha Stewart was ever broke. I thought she just went to jail.
There was the tax thing, but that was because she was broke, I believe.
Oh, okay. They got my girl all fucked up because she was just taking tips. Everybody else does that. Insider trading. What? Get our politicians then.
Yeah.
Get Nancy Pelosi's ass. Just saying.
Get
If you
45.
don't, I can't. So then there's a shootout.
Because
Right.
why not?
Why not?
No, but it starts because a Chinese dragon comes on stage somehow and
Kidnaps them,
kidnaps
yeah.
one of the real Wilson sisters, and I think
Or the
Kevin.
fake ones. Yeah.
Yes, it's Kevin that gets kidnapped. So they surprise them by like, I'm not one of the Wilson sisters. Marcus jumps in front of a bullet to save his girlfriend, question mark, from Channel 1 News, which
No,
was like
Kevin.
it was Kevin.
Yeah, Marcus has the wife.
Okay, so Marcus gets kidnapped. Kevin jumps in front of the bullet. But also, like, that, I got kind of annoyed with her because I'm like, you're not being conspicuous, baby girl, with that big ass camera. Like,
At that point, I think she also didn't care, but I think she also wasn't thinking
he's gonna have a gun.
he's gonna shoot me.
Right.
Why? Because the camera's right here.
Right.
You shoot me on camera? Like, I
did.
get her thinking like, oh, I got the scoop. I'm getting a promotion. Baby girl is getting raised. And then she sees the gun and she was like, was it worth it? Was it worth $10,000? And then her man saves her and she's like, hell yeah.
But also at the same time, Marcus's wife is there. Ride or die. Our best friend is ride or die because she is calling up all the girls to come out to the Hamptons with the Vaseline.
And the Vaseline and the straight razors.
Let's do this.
Oh my God. I love Drew so much for that.
So she learns that Marcus wasn't cheating on her. He's like, I may have lied. I may have done all these other things, but I am not cheating. I just don't understand why it can't be like, I'm working, I'm undercover.
Yeah.
I'll be home in a few days.
Because she knows he works for the FBI. That's not a secret.
Right. I don't know. And also, you know what the most shocking thing of this movie was? That they only get paid $30,000 a year.
Yeah.
Tell me what now, sir?
Wait,
huh?
That's what Marcus says they get paid
after
as FBI
taxes.
agents.
Yeah, he says, sir, I'm not rich. I make $30,000 after taxes.
I don't think that's right.
I don't think that's correct.
All right. That's what I heard.
That's what
No,
he
that's
says.
what I'm saying. I don't think that's correct in real life.
No.
If it is, even back then.
That's crazy. That's wild.
That's things that need to be discussed.
Maybe entry level. Maybe. I don't know. That's
where
wild.
are we entering? The front desk? That's so low.
But I do know that federal jobs do often pay less sometimes because you get so many benefits. But even that is like
true. But even FBI agents, and it's not like they were entry level agents.
Right.
So in 2014, I just feel like you should have been making at least 50, 60K.
Yeah. You're going undercover, being shot at, like.
Yeah.
No.
The makeup work they got done to go undercover was half their salary.
Right. 100%. So they arrest everybody. The real Wilson sisters found their dark chocolate in Lochlyn. He's got one sister on each arm. He's in a sling. He's doing well. Him and his, that is a fat ass tongue. That is a lot.
I had a outburst when he did this. Like, I was literally like, Jesus. Like, it startled me. This
big ups to his wife.
Once you go black, you gonna need a wheelchair.
When that girl
rolled up, and then the flunky like pushes her. Hey, Latrell, why didn't you call me back?
Handle that.
Handle that. No, are you telling? No, this is the part for me. Are you telling me that you are not? I'm not a woman. What? The deception. Get
That's
away
what
from me, jigaboo. It's like, oh my,
not a jigaboo. My God.
jigaboo is crazy.
Oh, and we forgot like that the girls do say the N-word in this movie
Yes.
because and one of the things that Shawn and Marlon say is that the whole concept of the movie was not necessarily just about white chicks, but like how white people move when black people really
Black
aren't
people
around.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
and
that,
that's the. I think people also forget that part of this movie is satire.
yeah,
Yeah.
Satire of being in the. We all say, "I wish I could be a fly on the wall," and we were in this moment.
yes,
It a little more comical and hyped up, yes, but it's the truth in some spaces
right,
that this is what happens, you know, and like you gotta laugh at the truth. And I
right,
think what makes this movie so funny is that everyone can see themselves in it.
yeah,
I remember being at the theater and sitting next to someone who was cringing at certain scenes, and afterwards I overhear them, and she was like, "Oh my God, is that what we're like?" And 14-year-old me turned around and I go, yeah, it is. It's like, yeah, girl, I'm glad you looked at yourself and was like, self-awareness. You know what that's called? Growth.
Well, after this is when the guys actually talk to their newfound friends and they're able to say, you guys are actually way better than Brittany and Tiffany. Like, we liked you better this version, and we're sad because we're not going to be able to hang out. And they end it by saying, we're still going to be able to hang out and go shopping. Which was the perfect way to end this movie.
Yeah.
The credits hit, and you go into Miss Wilson, you must be worth $1 million. Boom.
And that is White Chicks. I do also love that the White Chicks logo it's White Chicks in white and two little black people coming out in the eyes.
Yes.
Genius. Love it. All right, Jackie, any fun facts that we missed?
Just building upon when the Wayans brothers asked Vanessa Carlton if they could put the song in the movie, she said she wouldn't have allowed the song to be used if it was going to be reduced to just being the white girl playing the white girl song, stating because that's not what this is and that's not who I am. And of course the Wayanses knew that on some level.
Yeah. I didn't take it as that though.
I didn't either.
No, I think
The song already was like a hit. It was a pop phenomenon already. And so that's what you do. You lean into whatever is pop culture.
Yeah.
So I think it was more so like giving credit to the impact of the song.
Yeah,
and that's
definitely.
and that's why she said yes, because she believed that was their intent. Like they
And
were.
I think it was. I
Yeah.
think it hit the mark on that because the people who weren't aware, the black audience who wasn't aware of the song, they are now even more aware of it, which then took it to new heights.
Yeah. Because it got a whole new audience that probably wouldn't have heard that song at all.
Yeah, the nostalgia of it will never leave. Like,
No.
you didn't even know that the Terry Crews scene was attached to this movie.
Yeah.
But you knew it because that's how popular it is. And that's, for me, that's how I know something is pop culture.
Yeah.
You may have never seen it, you may not have watched it or been aware of it, but you at least know. I just for the first time watched a Harry Potter movie like 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I know Gryffindor, I know Slytherin, I know Ravenclaw, I know Hufflepuff, I know Harry, Hermione. I know all that because it's pop culture.
Yeah.
Right. And
So big.
The baddest bitch, Voldemort.
Yes.
Danielle's a villain apologist.
I am. I do love that. I
love a good villain origin story.
too.
See?
I didn't know that it only took him one take for that 1,000 miles scene, which is they were like, got it. And he's like, you don't need more? No, you did it.
I shared that fun fact with my husband Ken as we were watching it, and his response was, "Well, who doesn't love this song?" Like,
Vanessa, it was an homage to you, girl.
yes.
So, like, when you were saying that the unrated version is probably amazing, they made sure that it was not R-rated. Sony wanted it to have mass appeal, hence why I think so many people actually got to see it, because it was PG-13. So big ups to that.
It's not shocking to me, especially at that time,
Yeah.
because we just said, it was a very pop culture based movie.
Yeah.
At that time, the Hiltons, Simple Life, all of those things, girls aspiring to be them. That was, if you make it more appealing to where everyone can come see it, more money.
Yep.
Very much bankable, because they were either the people that you love to love or the people that you
Love to hate. Yeah.
So people were going to come and watch it to see their favorite celeb get parodied, or they
Yeah.
were going to come to hate watch and be like, yeah, stick it to the Hiltons.
And I think there still was just so much like interest in this life that they were living it,
Mhm.
you know, because reality TV was new to us and it was an explosion at that time.
Oh my
But
God. Reality TV at that time was,
it
I mean, we
was
had
wild.
stuff a little bit before that. We had the Real World. That was like,
Right.
but that was the
That was the
2015.
explosion.
Yeah.
Gio, tell us where everyone can find you on social so they can listen to your quips and your fun jokes and your takes on life.
Oh my goodness, yes. You can find me on Instagram at Gio Johnson, GIOJOHNSON. TikTok is Gio_Johnson because they just couldn't let me be great. It's Gio Johnson _ because once again, won't let me be great. And YouTube is just Gio Johnson once again. So yeah, that's where you can find me with all the things. If you just search it, I'll pop up. But oh my goodness, yes, you can find me on Instagram at Gio Johnson, GIOJOHNSON. TikTok is Gio_Johnson because they just couldn't let me be great. It's Gio Johnson _ because once again, won't let me be great. And YouTube is just Gio Johnson once again. So yeah, that's where you can find me with all the things. If you just search it, I'll pop up. Yeah, come talk to me about pop culture and nostalgia and fun. You know, my whole thing is to let people escape from day-to-day life and just laugh a little bit. Don't worry about the bills. Don't worry about that guy that didn't text you back. Don't worry about your job. Just come have a little fun. Come up here. Let's dance.
Come on over to my place.
Yes.
And as always, you can check us out at No More Late Fees on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Threads. And let's get into our present day ratings. And we'll start with you, Gio.
Oh, it's still the same. It's not changing. Bought it, we'll buy it again. We'll buy it as a gift. We'll show it to people in Africa who have never seen it yet.
Same. I'm definitely going would buy it again. It's a classic.
So,
And Jackie?
I don't have nostalgia around it. It was a struggle to get through for me, just because, like I said, I'm not really into like this particular type of comedy anyway. So I'm gonna do 2-day rental. Like, it wasn't awful. Like, it was not the worst thing I've ever seen, and I did laugh out loud on several occasions. So
oh, see, good.
yeah.
I think also the nostalgia factor does push it a lot for me. I think if we watched it now at our big age, it would be different, but
I still think it's
still,
wonderful.
I still watch it and laugh like I've never seen it though.
Yeah, like
Watch
I
it at
haven't
least
seen it
twice
in
a
a
year,
long time.
so.
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
Well, if you have any feedback for us, want to tell us your white chick story, want to sing us 1,000 miles, hit us up at our quick drop 909-601-6653. Twat us at the Twitters, hem us at the Threads, and you can be featured on a future episode.
Well, it's a little bit late, but happy birthday, Atiba, which means 28 days from the 1st of July. You know what I'm talking about. Okay. And join us next week as we see dead people with the classic The Sixth Sense. And Gio, as always, thank you so much for joining us. You are always welcome back to the show. We always have a great time with you.
This is my favorite virtual video store. Thank you so much for
Hey. That's like the highest compliment anyone's ever given us.
Facts.
That's what you guys need to start. Hashtag virtual video store.
Yeah.
And
to the
as
company. The heart rate.
always, be kind and rewind at your virtual video store.